Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I have the biggest action figure in my collection, the Marvel Legends X-Men 97, specifically Sentinel. Unfortunately, I was not able to get my hands on any of the other big guy figures, not the original Sentinel, not Galactus, but I made sure to get my hands on this X-Men 97 Sentinel because it looks absolutely fantastic, and I am very, very happy to have this in my collection. Obviously, I mean, it's a little cut off on the top, literally. So first off, I had to record in a different setting just because I have nowhere else to film that can fit this in screen. And also, this camera is as far back as it can possibly go. It is actively, like, behind me. I don't know. I'm right here. This is my hair. It's not combed right now, so it doesn't look great. But, like, it's as far back as it can go. And it's still not enough to film this without me being in the shot and then, you know, all that stuff. And I'm not doing that, so whatever. But I am super excited to have this in my collection. I have been needing a Sentinel so bad, and I am so happy to finally have this guy in my collection. So let's get into it, starting with the front of the box. It is kind of stylized, like retro style packaging, just with picture and not the actual figure. This is not the figure, this is an image of the figure, in case it wasn't obvious. Could you imagine if they did this for the actual packaging? That would be kind of sick. Especially since it's not going to be a retail product. I don't know, I think that would look pretty cool. The X-Men 97 style font down here is Marvel Sentinel. It's cut off, but it's there. On the side of the box, of course, that unplugged. I've been dealing with this light all day, and it's pissing me off. There. On the side of the box, you have a lot of people from the X-Men 97 wave. Up here at the top is Beast, you can't see him, but then you have Morph, who you also can't see, Storm, Bishop, Rogue, Jubilee, Gambit, Jean Grey, Cyclops, and Wolverine. I have him. I have a version of her, and that's all I have. On the back of the box, you have a lot of the people from the X-Men 97 wave. All right here. It's kind of like a fighting choose your character select screen. I have a lot of these characters. I am missing some of my most sought after, including Rogue and Jean Grey, but I do have most of these guys. They're also missing Sunspot and... was it Morph? Why is Sunspot not here, but Morph is? I don't really understand that. You also have the civilian clothes. Oh, Sunspot's right there. He is there. Okay, so this is everyone that's been released so far. Civilian clothes, Wolverine. This is the whole wave, and this theoretically completes the wave. I don't know if they're going to keep doing this. They might, just because technically we have more show coming, so they have more opportunity to release more characters. Maybe a new Professor Xavier would be cool. A new Beast would be cool. We just got our recently released Beast, who is pretty cool, but it's not this version of Beast, so we definitely need that. There's a few characters that could be touched upon, but yes, I'm definitely going to try and recreate a fighting scene like this with the characters I have. Could you imagine having this many of them? That would be insane. I would love to have that. I don't think it's super feasible. On this side of the box, I'm dealing with a lot right now. On this side of the box is some artwork of the Sentinel, and not too much to talk about there. So let's slide it back to the front, and I guess let's transition to the figure. Okay, so this is pretty much everything you get. Obviously, you can't see everything because it's all down here on the floor, and I can't show you guys the figure and the accessories at the same time. So let's go over things one by one, starting with these blast effects right here. You have two of these. You have a set of two. Camera's over here. You have a set of two. for each different blaster, and you have two of these. One is shorter than the other, and I can't find where the shorter one went. But they do look virtually identical. They are essentially a scaled up version of what you would get with like an Iron Man. So you have two of those. If you've seen an Iron Man figure, you've seen two of these. And like I said, two of these. Totaling 4, 5, 6 different items, including that blast effect. You also have a different cap for your figure. So this one is the battle damaged cap. You just pop off the cap like so. I've seen a lot of people showing like a dent on theirs. I thought that was supposed to be like the damaged effect one. It is not. So if you have a dent on yours, that is not how it's supposed to be. But then if you want this battle damaged version, we'll turn it like that. You just plop it on like so. And it should fit on nicely. You also have a battle damaged faceplate, so it's the same situation. Why did they give him teeth? I just noticed that. Bizarre. I assume you have to have the faceplate off first, and then you grab by the top and pull out. I did not read any instructions, so I'm not entirely sure. Okay, you just pull out, and for this one you just push in. Yeah, simple enough. Plop that back on, and now you have a battle damaged Sentinel, which is nice to have. This chest piece is not supposed to be blank. It has this one right here, and of course the battle damaged version. I'm going for a battle damaged look, so I'm just going to start plucking these bad boys in. And as far as accessories go, that's pretty much it. Everything else is on the figure itself. Starting with, I don't know what to start with. The look of the figure is outstanding. I mean, this isn't the HasLab Sentinel for sure, unfortunately, but it is still a fantastic and smooth looking Sentinel. It is supposed to be more representative of the show and less for the actual like comic version of Sentinel. So I do prefer the HasLab, but like I said, I don't have that. I don't have access to that, and I never will. That is going for $800, which is insane, and it's probably only going to go up as it gets harder and harder for people to find it. This is I believe I paid like $190 for this, which is a lot for a figure, but that's not $800. So, and it's not as big, it's not as nice, it's not as detailed, but it's still on the same level, I want to say. That's so the figure itself was $170 plus shipping and taxes. That's about $190. If you bought it now, because they did do a second wave, if you bought it now, I believe they raised the price, so it's now going to be closer to $230, $240. I don't know if I could justify that. I've only messed with this a little bit, so I don't know how I feel about the price I paid. But any higher than what I paid, I probably wouldn't, because this was already kind of a tough buy for me. But like I said, you do have this beautiful looking faceplate. He is giant. I mean, this is my arm, and I'm a big guy. This is my arm, and it only goes up to his waist, not even his chest. So that's about 12 inches. I think my forearm to fist, maybe even, I think this is 12. Add another 2, so 14 inches, and it's still not all the way up there. I do have a ruler somewhere in my room, but, not currently accessible. In terms of the look, like I said, he is pretty sleek. There's not a ton of detail. You do have some minor detail here and there. I don't love seeing these giant holes in certain places. I think that's a little annoying and lame. It's not everywhere, though. It's just in certain spots, like on the inner thigh or calf, I guess, and inner forearm. And besides that, I mean, there's not too many holes. I do wish it was more pinless. I don't know how that compares to the actual HasLab version of this figure. Maybe the HasLab has more pins, so I don't actually know. But I do know that the HasLab is bigger. But for me, still, this is the biggest figure I've ever owned. So I do have a comparison I want to make, and I will do that later on. But I do have Surtur, which was the biggest Marvel Legend I've owned, and that's about, I want to say it's probably like right here on Sentinel. So it doesn't compare in any way whatsoever. In terms of articulation, this is the part I'm scared to do. From what I've seen online, there's been a lot of issues with paint rub here and here. Not paint rub, straight up scratching. The figure scratches itself and damages the plastic to a degree that is acceptable. I haven't seen anything too severe. Honestly, it seems like a lot of hubbub. I know this is an expensive figure, but we are dealing with plastic, and like, not everything's perfect in the world. So like, things will happen, and figures, regardless of the price, will get scrapes. Could they have done a little bit of a better job avoiding those scrapes? Probably. But I think we're maybe kidding ourselves if we expected this to be pristine. Even at the price point we paid, like a regular $100 figure would end up with some bumps and scrapes and bruises. So I don't know if I'm necessarily on the same page as everyone else with the complaints I've been seeing. I think it's more of a fair warning. Your figure can potentially get scraped up. So do with that what you will. I don't know. I'm not like of the opinion that it's the biggest deal in the world. Just be aware of it. But like I said, when I talk about articulation, I am nervous to do any harm to my figure just because I don't know what to expect. Like I said, I haven't seen anything too severe. I've mostly seen it here, and it's mostly been under, like, the waistcoat, so it would be hidden anyways. And up here, it would be hidden anyways. And honestly, if you have those scrapes, they're on a little silver wash, and then you just have more battle damage. Obviously, with figures this expensive, you shouldn't have to make a compromise like that just to have, like, a nice figure. But, like, work with what you have is my point. I don't think anyone should be setting themselves up for disappointment by having expectations that are too high and impossible to achieve. But like I said, in terms of articulation, I don't even know how I'm supposed to talk about some of this stuff. I'm going to bring the figure over here so we can talk about the head. He is sitting on my lap like a toddler, which is hilarious to me. Let's take that off because it's just going to pop off if I keep moving it. So the head can go up pretty far, I think. I think that's pretty nice. It also tilts side to side, rotates all the way around. I don't know if this head comes off. Like, I'm trying and it doesn't want to. So I don't want to, like, push the issue too much further. I think it can go wiggle slightly. I don't know. Kinda. The arms are very loud, but they come up to about right there. That's about like a 90, little less than 90. The issue is it can come up to here and then it kind of pulls back down, so it's about a 90, but not like a perfect 90 degree angle. I shouldn't talk while it's doing that just because it's so loud. It will rotate all the way around. Obviously, it's got that ratchety feature. I'd rather that than it be too loose. But that is pretty obnoxiously loud. You do have the swivel on the bicep all the way around. Double jointed, pinless-ish, kinda. I don't know. This isn't really a pin for the elbow, technically. It's more for the plastic. But the double jointed elbows comes up to about right there, which is pretty good. No swivel at the gauntlet. I want to say there's swivel down here in the boot, but at the gauntlet there is none. Hands are the next topic. The hands can come up, down, and all the way around. You do have kind of like a butterfly joint situation on the thumb, so it can go like that. Then you have joints for each of the fingers. I don't know if I need to do every single one, but they all operate pretty much like fingers. I mean, you get as close as you can, I suppose. You can bend them all like a finger would, and then... Oh no, I did the wrong finger. There. You can do that. Pepper. Pepper. Sorry, my cat's playing with plastic. But you can do that. I believe every finger swivels, so you can even have a broken finger if you wanted to. Pretty nice there. The waist is another area I'm not too familiar with. I don't know what to expect here. Forward to about right there, not too shabby. Back to about right there. Again, I think that's pretty decent. Tilt side to side. Pretty good stuff there. The legs come up to about right there. Double jointed knees comes up to about right there. Is there a swivel? You know what? Okay, there's a swivel at the thigh. And there's a slight swivel. I'm going the wrong way. At the boot. It doesn't want to... You know what? I just got caught lying. I was going this way, but it kept stopping. So I was like, it doesn't want to go all the way around. But it does go all the way around. So, swivel at the boot. Nice. Swivel at the foot as well. And then you had the ankle that goes down just a click. And up 2 clicks. So you have a 3-click range of motion. And that is the Hasbro Marvel Legends X-Men 97 Sentinel. There's a lot of names for this guy. Trying to get his hands right. Sometimes the fingers kind of sit in an awkward and stiff position. Let's go ahead and put his cap back on so he doesn't look like such a nerd. So if you put the blast effects, they are, I believe, more so meant for the hands. That was loud. I apologize for that. But I also think you can apply these to the feet if you wanted him to be like in flight. This guy's pretty big and heavy, so I don't know if you really want this guy hanging from like a wire. But theoretically, you totally could. Oh, that looks fucking sick, dude. Look at that. I wish the lighting in this room was a little bit better. This is my desk area, and it just doesn't look great on the computer. In person, it looks fantastic. Obviously, you gotta pose him right. Get the fingers all bent, like so, because he's angry. Then do a little finagling. And he's shooting down at someone, because everyone's smaller than a Sentinel. I mean, he poses like a dream. This guy is sick. Let me grab Surtur and show you the height comparison. And then I'll grab a Wolverine and a Cyclops to show you a regular Marvel Legends size comparison. Okay, I mean, come on. This is pretty freaking sick, actually. So this is obviously Wolverine and Cyclops. I wanted these two specifically because they are, well, X-Men, but also Wolverine represents a decently short character and Cyclops represents a decently average size character. So obviously it's a good range of character sizes. I'm going to have to adjust the camera angle. But yeah, there's these two, and then I have Surtur right next to me so we can look at all of these characters side by side. Here, let's have them standing normal. I mean, you can already tell Wolverine is minuscule compared to this guy. I was worried that he wouldn't be big enough, and he is clearly very big. So let's drop this down a hair. I don't want to go too far with it. What are we doing? Where are we going? Pick it up. And there we go. So this is obviously, I mean, you can't see the top of him, but this is how he stands next to these other characters. And then, like I said, here is Surtur, who represents a slightly bigger character, but he is still minuscule compared to the Sentinel. This is very cool. This Surtur, I was messing with him while I was waiting to record. I had to wash him because he was dirty, covered in dust. He is the most annoying figure in the world. He looks fantastic, and I love everything about him, but he has the worst ankles. They are loose, so constantly, I don't have him on display anymore because he would constantly just fall forward because his shitty ankles. And then what is this? That's his range of motion in the shoulders. I don't know if I got this figure and recorded it and uploaded it. I'm pretty sure I got this before I started making videos. But, like, that's it. Everything else about his articulation is great. You have the diaphragm cut, the ab crunch. This is all stuff I think he could probably benefit from. But, like, he doesn't have them. This guy does. But then he has that for a shoulder. For what? For a sculpt of, like, lava? Make the sculpt smaller or make this hole bigger. If it wasn't for that and his shitty ankles, this would have been, like, a fantastic figure. Because it looks incredible. But it just doesn't articulate well. And he has this cool big sword, but, you know, you can't even fucking use it. Maybe I'll give it to the Sentinel. He'll respect it more, you know. You can hold it and be happy with it. Maybe. I don't know. Anyways, I mean, that looks kind of sick, honestly. Well, anyways, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Should I have, like, Wolverine up here on his neck, kind of plowing away at him, just like, yeah, type of thing, like that, shink shink, and then Cyclops can be like on his arm, like, hey, la la la. Anyways, whatever Cyclops says. This is the Sentinel, X-Men 97 Sentinel. I think it's pretty freaking cool. I'm very I'm very happy with it. I was worried I wouldn't be happy with it, but I think ultimately he's pretty cool. This guy is just tall enough to, like, suck some dick. Anyways, why did I do that? That's not appropriate. Anyways, I keep saying anyways because I don't know how to end this. Thanks for watching, guys. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Leave a like, comment, all the things YouTubers ask you to do, just do it for me as well, and I will be back with another video, hopefully, very, very soon. Bye.